Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game in which each player takes on the role of a leader, an iconic Star Wars character who rallies their forces into battle to defeat their opponent's base. These forces are represented by a 50-card deck containing units, events, and upgrades. The game is played over a series of rounds. During the action phase of each round, you'll play a card from your hand and use these cards to attack your opponent's base and units. Then, in the regroup phase, you'll draw cards, build up your resources, and ready your units for the next round of battle. Early in the game, your leader will affect the battle passively, but eventually they'll join the fray as a powerful unit. Each base starts the game with 30 HP, hit points. If you deal enough damage to the enemy base and reduce it down to 0, you win the game. Setup. Using the 2-player starter, the starter contains 2 decks, Ahsoka Tano and General Grievous. Each player chooses one of those decks to play. Separate the double-sided leader, base, and token cards from the other 50 cards with the Star Wars Unlimited card back. Take the 2 playmats and set them up facing each other. They contain helpful rules reminder and indicate how to lay out your cards. Follow these steps to set up the game. 1. Put your bases into play, facing your opponents. 2. Put your leader into play below your base, horizontal, non-unit, side face up. Randomly determine which player starts the game with the initiative, and give the initiative counter to that player. Set aside all other counters and token cards out of play. 4. Shuffle your deck. Draw 6 cards from your deck to form your hand. You may take a mulligan by shuffling your entire hand into your deck, then drawing a new hand of 6 cards. You must keep the new hand. Strategy tip. We recommend taking a mulligan if your hand contains no units that cost 1 or 2 to play in the first round. Choose 2 cards from your hand and put them into play face down and ready near your base. They are now your resources. You will use resources to play for cards you play during the game. When both players are ready, start the game with the first action phase. Gameplay. Action phase. Most of the gameplay happens during the action phase. During this phase, players go back and forth taking one action at a time. The player with the initiative counter takes the first action, then their opponent takes an action, and so on until both players have passed. The actions available to a player are: play a card, attack with a unit, use an action ability, take the initiative, or pass. Play a card. Cards have a cost in the upper left corner. To play a card, reveal it from your hand and pay its cost by exhausting that many resources. See Ready and Exhausted on the next page. For example, to play a card that costs 2, you must exhaust 2 of your resources. There are 3 types of cards that you can play: units, events, and upgrades. Each card type has different rules when played, as described in the following pages. Ready and Exhausted. Units and resources enter play exhausted, turned sideways, and become ready, turned upright at the end of the regroup phase each round. Many cards must exhaust in order to be used. Resources exhaust to pay for the cards that you play from your hand. Units exhaust to attack or use certain abilities, indicated by the arrow icon. Some leaders exhaust to use their action ability. An exhausted card can't exhaust again until it's ready. When you deploy your leader as a unit using its epic action ability, ready it, even if it was exhausted before. This means it can attack on the same round it's deployed. See your leader on page 15 for details. Units. Units enter play exhausted and remain in play until defeated. Units have a power and HP value. Power indicates how much damage a unit deals in combat. If a unit ever has damage on it greater than or equal to its HP, it's defeated and put in the owner's discard pile. Many units also have abilities in their text box that are active while that unit is in play. See card abilities on page 19. So we have the cost, the ground space, the ground/space, the name, its traits, HP, unit card, abilities, power, and aspect icons. Ground and space. Combat is divided into 2 separate arenas. Ground and space. Each unit is either a ground unit or a space unit, as indicated by the top of the card. All ground units are played into the ground area on one side of the player's base, and all space units are played into the space area of the other side. In combat, ground units can't attack space units and vice versa. Events. Events have an ability in the text box. When you play an event, use its ability and you put the events in your discard pile. We have the cost, the name, the traits, the event card, the ability, and the aspect icons. Upgrades. Upgrades enter play attached to a unit and remain in play until that unit is defeated. Upgrades provide increased power, HP, and or abilities to the attached unit. To attach an upgrade to a unit, slide the upgrade partially underneath that unit so that the upgrade's power, HP, and abilities are visible. If the unit is an upgrade, if the unit an upgrade is attached to leaves play, defeat that upgrade. Put it in the owner, aka put it in the owner's discard pile. So again, we have cost, name, traits, bonus HP, upgrade card. Oh wait, that's just the name of what we're looking at. Bonus power, abilities, aspect icons, and the cost. I'm repeating myself. Attack with the unit. Attacking is the primary way to deal damage to the opponent's base and win the game. You can also attack enemy units. A unit must be ready in order to attack. Only one unit may attack in a single action. To attack, follow the steps in order. 1. Exhaust the attacker and choose what to attack. You may attack any enemy unit in the same arena, ground or space, as the attacker, or you may attack the opponent's base directly. If an enemy's unit is in the same arena as the attacker has Sentinel, it must be chosen as the defender unless the attacker has Saboteur. For more details on red keyword abilities, see page 24. Any abilities that are active while a unit is attacking, including Raid, become active at the time. If the attacker has Restore, heal damage from your base equal to its Restore value. If the attacker has any on-attack abilities, use them now. Deal damage. If your unit is attacking a base, it deals damage equal to the power on that base. A unit. The attacker and the defender simultaneously deal damage equal to their power to each other. If either unit has damage on it greater than or equal to its HP, it is immediately defeated. Attack examples. If Shakti attacks the enemy base, she deals 3 damage to the base and takes no damage in return. If Shakti attacks B1 security team, each unit deals 3 damage to each other because B1 security team has 3 damage on it and only 1 HP. It is defeated. Shakti remains in play with 3 damage on her and is able to take 1 more damage before being defeated. Use an action ability. Some cards have action abilities. These abilities often have a cost that must be paid in order to use them, found in brackets after the word action. This cost may include resources that must be paid, indicated by a yellow icon, and exhausting the card indicated by a arrow icon. If you don't pay the cost, you can't use the ability. An epic action is an action taken that can only be used once per game. Only one player can take the initiative. Only one player can take this action each round. That player takes control of the initiative counter, even if they already have it, meaning they will go first in the next round. After taking the initiative, you can't take any further actions for the rest of the action phase. You're considered to pass for all the remaining actions this phase. Pass. If you can't or don't want to take any other actions, you may pass. When you pass, you are considered to have done nothing during your action, and your opponent is immediately able to take their next action. You may still take more actions later in the action phase. After a player passes, if their opponent passes or takes the initiative as their next action, the action phase immediately ends and proceeds to the regroup phase. Your leader. Your leader is the centerpiece of your deck. It begins the game on its horizontal side with an ability that's available from the start of the game. Your leader also has an epic action ability that's not available at the start of the game, but is unlocked if you have a certain number of resources in play. Once you have enough resources, you may use this action to deploy your leader. Flip it on its side. Move it to the ground area and ready it. This action doesn't cost any resources and can be used regardless of whether your unit is ready or exhausted. While your leader is in play as a unit, it can attack, be attacked, and use abilities like any other unit. If your leader is defeated, flip it back to its non-unit side, return it to your base, and exhaust it. Your leader's epic action can't be used again this game, covered with the epic action counter as a reminder, but you can still use its other ability. Regroup phase. After the action phase, play proceeds to the regroup phase. You and your opponent complete each of the following steps in order. Draw cards. Draw 2 cards from your deck. 2. Resource a card. You may choose 1 card from your hand and put it into play, face down as a resource, or you may choose not to, put down a resource and keep all of your cards in hand. The player with the initiative chooses whether to put down a resource first, followed by the other player. Strategy tip. We recommend you resource a card each round until you have enough resources in play to use your leader's epic action. Beyond that point, consider whether or not you need more resources to play the cards in your hand or the cards that you may draw from your deck. 3. Ready cards. Ready all of your exhausted cards in play, including units, resources, and your leader. When both players have readied all their cards, play proceeds to the action phase on the next round. Other rules. Aspect icons. Most cards have 1 or more icons showing the aspect to which that card belongs. Each aspect represents a different philosophy or motivation. These icons tell you what the card's aspect are and may be referenced by card abilities. Aspects are important when building your own custom deck. See custom deck building on page 20. So we have blue stands for vigilance, green stands for command, white is heroism, red is aggression, yellow is cunning, and black is villainy. Friendly and enemy. Cards you control are considered friendly. Cards your opponent controls are considered enemy. Unique cards. Unique cards represent specific characters or objects in the Star Wars universe and are indicated by a star icon before the card's name. You can only have 1 copy of each unique card in play at a time. If you have multiple copies of the same unique card in play under your control, you must immediately defeat one of them. Token cards. Token cards are set aside and not shuffled into your deck. Some cards may instruct you to create a token unit. If so, take a set aside token as that type and put it into play. This set has 2 types of token units: battle droids and clone troopers. Like other units, token units enter play exhausted and in the appropriate arena. Creating a token unit is not considered to be playing a unit and does not trigger abilities that occur when you play a unit. If a token would leave play for any reason, set it aside. There's no limit on tokens available to a player. A player may substitute any available object for a token. Running out of cards in your deck. If you run out of cards in your deck, you continue playing with the cards you already have. Anytime you would draw a card from the empty deck, you instead deal 3 damage to your own base for each card you would draw. For example, when you would draw 2 cards during the regroup phase, instead deal 6 damage to your base. Traits. All cards have traits, such as Republic or Separatist, which appear in a small banner near their text box. Traits don't have their own rules, but some card abilities will affect cards with certain traits. Card abilities. Several types of abilities can be found in the text box on cards. Action abilities have bold text with the word action, sometimes with a cost in brackets, followed by a colon and an effect. See use an action ability on page 14 for details. Triggered abilities have a bold text indicating their triggering condition with the words when or on, followed by a colon and an effect. They resolve automatically after their triggering conditions occur and are mandatory unless they use the word may. The 3 conditions that appear most often have specific rules and timing. On attack. On attack, when defeated, and when played. On attack. This happens when the unit is chosen as an attacker, before damage is dealt. See page 12 for details. When defeated. This happens after a card is defeated. The card is in the discard pile when the ability resolves. When played. This happens after the card is played. The card in play when the ability is resolved. Keyword abilities. Appears in red text. Each keyword has specific rules associated with it, described in detail on page 24. Constant abilities. Appear on cards that remain in play and have no specific styling. They are active as long as the card is in play, regardless of whether the card is ready or exhausted. Event abilities. Appear on events. They are one-time abilities that resolve when the event is played. Custom deck building. After learning the basics of the game, the next step is to start building your own custom deck. Additional cards to customize your deck can be found in Star Wars Unlimited booster packs. Your deck must include 1 leader, 1 base, at least 50 other cards, consisting of units, events, and upgrades. Your deck can't include more than 3 copies of any card. Your leader and base each provide icons that dictate the colors of your deck. Your leader provides 2 icons and your base provides 1. giving 3 aspect icons total. Most cards in your deck have 1 or more aspect icons near their cost. You may include cards of any aspect in your deck, but when playing a card with the icons that are not provided by your leader or base, you must play 2 extra resources for each missing icon. This includes cost. This additional cost is called the aspect penalty. In general, you should try to only put cards in your deck that match the aspect icons provided by your leader and base. For example, if your leader provides a blue icon and a white icon, and your base provides a red icon, a card with a single blue, white, or red icon would cost no extra. A card with a blue, white, or red-white icon would cost no extra. A card with a single green, yellow, or black icon would cost 2 extra. A card with green-white icons would cost 2 extra because you have the white icon but are missing the green extra. A card with 2 blue icons would cost 2 extra because you have a single blue icon but are missing that second. In order to play such a card at no extra cost, you would need your leader and base to provide 2 blue icons. A card with green black icon would cost 4 extra because you are missing both the green and the black icon and have to pay for 2 each. A good rule of thumb for your deck is to include about 30 to 40 units with a good mix of ground and space units and about 10 to 20 events and upgrades. You should make sure to include cards with a variety of costs. Include plenty of 1 to 3 cost cards to play early in the game. Credits. I don't really want to read all these. Sorry, guys. If you want, you can pause and read them yourself. Look at this fun little drawing. Keyword glossary. Ambush. When you play this unit, it may ready and attack an enemy unit. This unit doesn't ready if there are no enemy units to attack. Coordinate. New. The ability listed after the coordinate activity is active only while you control 3 or more units, including the unit with coordinate. Exploit. When playing this card, you may defeat a number of units you control up to the exploit value. Reduce the cost to play the card by 2 for each unit you defeat this way. Overwhelm. When the unit deals damage to an enemy unit while attacking, deal excess damage to that opponent's base. Example, if a 5 power unit with Overwhelm attacks a base with 3 HP remaining, it attacks a unit with 3 HP remaining, deals 2 damage to the enemy base. Raid. While this unit is attacking, it gets an extra power equal to the raid value. Example, a unit with a raid 2 gets +2 +0 while attacking. Restore. When a unit attacks, heal damage from your base equal to the restore value before dealing damage. Example, a unit with restore tool 2 heals 2 damage from your base when it attacks. Saboteur. When this unit attacks, ignore the sentinel keyword on enemy units and defeat all shield tokens on the defender before dealing damage. Sentinel. Each unit in the same arena, ground, or space as this unit can't attack your non-sentinel units in this area or your base. If you have multiple units with sentinel in the same arena, your opponent may choose which of those units to attack. Cool. Well, thank you for going on this little journey with me. It's much appreciated. Till next time.